I would like to share 3 tips on how to control your perfectionistic tendencies, and these tips are based on my experience. Perfectionism is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it can help to improve your performance, and on the other hand, it can cause intense insecurities and it can slow you down. As a recovering perfectionist, I have realized that there are few steps that I could take to keep my perfectionistic tendencies in control. So the first thing what I did was recognizing the time and cost of my behavior. So say for example, if I am preparing for a presentation, I would go for hours and hours and even days together to complete that presentation, and still I would not find it perfect. So what I started doing is I started tracking the time that I was taking to complete a particular presentation. Once I started tracking, I realized that I was spending way too much time on something which was not necessary to be perfect. So what I started asking is asking questions like, is this presentation the most impactful for the audience? If my answer is yes, I stop it then and there and then move on to more important work. The second thing that I would do is I would start tracking my progress. So if something is done and done well, I would stop it there and then move on to something else. So I started tracking my progress on how much time I was spending on each task that I was doing, and if I find that certain tasks I am spending more time on it, then I would restrict the time and keep a time limit. So with this, if I am satisfied with what is there, if it is meeting the minimum requirements, I would stop it and move to the next task. The third and most important thing which I think which has helped me a lot is reducing the mulling or ruminating on certain things. If you are a perfectionist, you know what I'm talking about. So I had this tendency where I would spend hours and hours thinking about a problem, come out with multitude of solutions, and ultimately I would never resolve it because I would get stuck. So what I started doing was I started selecting 3 solutions to a problem. Just 3 solutions. I would put out the pros and cons of each problem, and the ones with the more pros and less cons, I would choose that and go with it. If the problem is resolved and there are no issues and it is successfully solved, then it's good for me. If it is not solved and there were some issues, it was a learning for me. So these are the simple things that I took it up in my daily life in order to reduce my perfectionistic tendencies. So I now believe that perfection is overrated. What do you think?